She has a beautiful smile. Karolina is a junior in high school and a star student. She also works part-time at a local Safeway store. She has wonderful leadership skills and is strongly committed to making a difference in her community. She was 1 year old when she was brought to this country. So it's my pleasure to present to you Karolina.
So let me start off by saying that I'm a junior in high school, and like most juniors, I feel like this has been one of the most stressful years in my high school career. And no, it's not because I'm worried whether or not I get a good score in my SAT or ACT, or whether or not I get my driver's license, or whether or not my dress is going to look better than anybody else's at prom. And no, it's not because I don't want to worry about these things. I simply can't afford to. So let me explain. I was brought to this country at the age of 1 with my 2 parents and my 2 older sisters. When we arrived to this country, we ended up living in a small studio with my grandma. And let me explain when I say the word studio. I don't mean an apartment with a bedroom. I mean a small studio. I mean living room, kitchen, bathroom, all together. And at that time, there was 7 people living in that small studio. And how we managed to do it and not kill each other, it still amazes me. At the age of 4, my grandmother passed away. And that had a huge impact in my life because it was the first time I realized what death meant. I remember the day that my grandmother passed away and the night that we were keeping watch on her. Her relatives and friends came. And I didn't know my grandmother was dead back then. I thought she was just taking a really long nap. So I walked up to her, and I remember tugging at her shoulder, saying over and over again, "Despierta, wake up." But she didn't reply. When I turned 5, my dad said it was finally time to move out. And of course, I was very sad that my grandmother passed away, but I was also excited that we were moving to a new house, that I was going to finally have my own bedroom and even my own bed. Up to that point, I had always shared my bed with my 2 older sisters. And I promised myself, my 5-year-old self, that I was going to keep a collection of strawberry-scented stickers and paste them all over my walls. But unfortunately, we ended up moving to another studio in the same neighborhood. So much for my strawberry-scented sticker collection. When I started high school, my freshman year, that was the first time I realized what undocumented really was. I remember watching the Spanish noticias or news with my mom, and I remember hearing that hundreds of illegal aliens were deported because of a checkpoint. I asked my mom, well, what does an illegal alien mean? I always thought it meant those green guys with big black eyes, so I didn't know what they were talking about. She looked at me and she said that an illegal alien, well, those people were us. And I said, well, what do you mean? She told me that that phrase was used to describe people who had illegally come to this country and were now residing in the US. You know, up to that point, I always knew that I was born in Mexico, but I never knew that that was going to be an issue of some sort. And I was more confused than ever. But I kept doing my thing. I kept going to school. And in 2012, President Obama said that DACA, granted DACA basically, and I applied for it. I really didn't know what that was at first, but I knew that I was going to get a social security number, and a social security number meant that I could work. So when I turned 16, our family economical situation started getting worse. We were paying about $1,300 for that small studio, with only my dad working and getting $500 each week. My two sisters were in college, so at that point they didn't really have to worry about anything. But I saw my dad, and he has been working for the company about 16 or 17 years. And out of all the workers, he's one of the hardest working employees there. I see him rain or shine, 100 degrees, 60 degrees, pushing carts outside every day. He never complains. So when I turned 16, I said, I'm going to get a job too. I'm going to help my dad out. Because at that point, we didn't know if we were going to be sleeping in a car the next day because we couldn't pay the rent. So when I turned 16, I got a job. And I would work overtime. I would ask my managers, can you please give me more hours? I would skip school some days because I was so tired from working. I would work 12-hour shifts, but I never complained because I know that that's something my dad always taught me. Never complain about work because of work. That's why you're living, that's why you have a roof over your head. With every check I got, I gave 2/3 of it to my dad for rent, and the other third I would give to my mom. They never asked me work. They never forced it upon me to help them out, but I knew it was my responsibility. So I did. And up till now, I'm still working in the same job. I'm still asking for more hours, but I'm really happy, and I know that my dad is really proud of me. Because every time I give him the money, he says, "Gracias, mija, Dios te lo pague y te dé más." Now, my dad is close to retiring age. I don't know if he's going to get the retirement opportunities that are offered because of his Social Security and immigration situation. My mom says that we might have to go to Florida and work in the fields. But I don't want my mom to work in the fields because I know how hard that work can be. I don't know if I'm going to drop out of school and have to start helping out. I really hope that whatever happens in the future, I do get to go to college. And I know in the long run, it benefits us more if I do go to college and then help my parents out. But in the meantime, I don't see it that way. We live day to day. We don't know if we're going to be kicked out of where we live. But one thing we do know is that wherever we go, we will work hard. And even though my parents couldn't be here today for various personal reasons, I love them very much, and they're my motivation to keep working hard. So thank you. Yeah.